1,313.
OK, Nick, thank you very much indeed. Nick Codling, 7:09 is the time. Dr. Simon Clark is with us. I'll be with you in just a second, an Associate Professor in Cellular Microbiology at Reading University. First, though, to Dr. Layla McCay, Director at the NHS Confederation. Doctor, is it McCay or McCay?
It's McCay, hi.
McCay, thank you very much indeed for being with us, Doctor. Just, if you could just tell me about pregnant women. Carrie Simmons there, Nick Codling was mentioning, a lot of pregnant women extremely concerned at the moment. That is understandable. What are they to do?
Well, I'm not an expert in pregnant women and coronavirus, but essentially the main challenge that I've been seeing is not so much that it's going to be difficult because you're pregnant, but in the event that you then become very unwell and have to go into hospital, there's extra challenges when you're in the later stages of your pregnancy.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Doctor, the hospital admissions that we're seeing at the moment still going up. How do NHS workers go into this hazardous environment every single day? What sort of attitude do you have to take in to survive what must probably feel like an ordeal?
Absolutely. I mean, NHS workers go into work every day and they know that they're in some ways entering a risky environment where people might have all sorts of infections, other things wrong with them. And really one of the big focus areas on this coronavirus outbreak is that personal protective equipment is a really important mechanism for trying to reduce that risk. Another way of course, reducing that risk is reducing the exposure in different ways. So, for example, reducing the amount of people coming in, ideally through things like the social distancing measures that we've been talking about.
Do you think there should be a bonus at the end of all this for NHS staff?
I wouldn't like to speculate, but I do think that people are working incredibly hard, far above and beyond what they usually experience.
Absolutely. At Watford General Hospital yesterday, I think you'll probably be familiar with this, they declared a critical incident yesterday, and they urged any emergency patients to go to other hospitals with A&E units. Do we know what happened there? Was that anything to do with the coronavirus?
I think the details of that are not absolutely clear as yet. My understanding that it's something to do with the oxygen, working out how much oxygen to use. It's very interesting, of course, because as we have this influx of people with coronavirus, they're requiring different types of treatment. So usually you might only have a few people who need, for example, to be intubated, and now there's far more than there usually would be. So hospitals are working really, really hard to upscale so that they're able to meet that demand. Seven
healthcare workers have lost their lives now, including two nurses in their 30s. Tragic stories, both mothers of three. Theresa Fife, Director of the Royal College of Nursing in Scotland, said yesterday that it's inevitable more health workers will die from coronavirus. I mean, why isn't there enough protection? When is it coming? What questions are you asking, and who to? This seems ridiculous that we are asking this day in, day out.
Absolutely. Not having sorted out the PPE availability has been one of the biggest concerns that our members have been talking about for the past few weeks. And we have been working incredibly hard to raise that concern everywhere that it needs to be. It sounds like there's a few things at play here, but really it's a matter of scale. We just haven't seen a sudden requirement for so much of a particular type of equipment in such a small space of time, and the logistics capacity for how that usually works. Even with the best will in the world, the planning that they had was just overwhelmed. So they've brought in the military. They've got this working now as a military operation. The amount of PPE that's being delivered has been massively increased. The way in which it's been delivered has been completely changed. And, we're still hearing from our members that there are challenges, especially in primary care, social care, community care, where people are really quite anxious. But I think the positive thing is that this is on the up, it is improving, and we're hearing from our members that the supplies are getting there. So I think that it's good.
Dr. Layla McCay, thank you very much indeed. Director of the NHS Confederation. Stay safe and well yourself. 13 minutes past 7. Dr. Simon